So I'm not very good at, like when I get excited about a topic or when it's a bigger topic than what I can possibly do in a short amount of time, I get messed up, but just bear with me. I'm going to try and work through this. I found this to be a very interesting thing because I was on my Twitter and I just posted it and I got nothing. I got no response. And it's very fascinating. Why would that be? Why would something when a national brokerage decides that they're not going to be part of the National Association of Realtors, how did that elicit no response? And so I'm kind of curious as if like, will this video that I put out get any sort of traction at all, or will it just kind of hide? Will it just kind of disappear? You never really know with YouTube. You never really know with Rumble. But I'm curious, and so let's get into the article right now. If you haven't heard already, if you're not a real estate professional, big waves came through the brokerage industry, I'd say, on October 2nd when Glenn Kelman of Redfin wrote this letter. Now, it says it's been updated on October 6th, 2023. I don't remember the original letter. I can't go back and find it. So we'll just go through this letter and see what it says and then kind of go from there. So Redfin is leaving NAR. So NAR is the National Association of Realtors. And so what is this all about? So it says Redfin is moving to end our support of the National Association of Realtors for two reasons. NAR policies requiring a fee for the buyer's agent on every listing and a pattern of alleged sexual harassment, which, I mean, we can get into that at some other point, but let's just go. It says, a long time coming. We've had many meetings with NAR execs to explore compromises on the policies that would let us continue our support. Since a Redfin-wide initiative to join NAR in 2017, we paid more than $13 million in dues in an effort to influence NAR to advocate for an open, technology-driven marketplace that would benefit consumers. We'll now explore other ways to advance those goals. Now, understand that Redfin is a brokerage, and they're trying to take away market share from any other brokerage, okay? And so it just in the first line, it looks like what they've wanted to do is influence the National Association of Realtors by paying them a ton of money to help get them what they want. It's not about the consumers, and it's never about the consumers in any sort of big business, especially highly leveraged brokerages. So that alone is we're already starting off on a disingenuous level. A pattern of alleged sexual harassment. We'd already been uncomfortable with NAR's positions on commissions when we read reports of sexist behavior and sexual harassment by NAR's president and others based on interviews with 29 former NAR employees. NAR was aware of the allegations for months and in some cases years, but reacted only when those allegations became public and only after the CEO said there wasn't a problem. Many employees described a culture of intimidation and retribution. Many are still calling for more accountability. So now, there was an issue with NAR and sexual harassment. There was a lawsuit filed, I believe, and what they're saying is even though they left and decided to leave in June, the fact that this happened to come up recently makes them happy that they're leaving because they have another thing to latch onto. Because, as we'll see, I don't think that this has this. You don't write a letter like this and then publish it everywhere because you really care about NAR or anything else. You publish this to get clicks. You want notice. Look at me, I'm the brokerage. Look at me. It's no different than me making a YouTube video about sales or anything else. Sometimes they get results, sometimes they don't. It says resigning from the NAR board. Redfin had already resigned our national board seat in June before the alleged sexual harassment came to light. In the many marketplaces governed by its policies, NAR still blocks sellers from listings home that don't pay a commission to the buyer's agent, and it blocks websites like redfin.com from showing for sale by owner listings along agent listing homes. Removing these blocks would be easy, and it would make our industry more consumer-friendly and competitive in the view of Redfin, which is advocating for these changes. It's not about consumers, it's about Redfin. And what you need to understand is everything is about Redfin, according to Redfin. It's got nothing to. I mean, it's easy to say that it's about the consumers because who are the consumers? It's just some generalized blob of humanity. We don't know who they are. We'll see a little bit later, like who their consumers might be. It's just this whole thing is just bizarre. So it says now after careful deliberation. Redfin will go further than resigning from the NAR board, requiring our brokers and agents to leave NAR everywhere we can. Most brokerages are only a loose affiliation of independent agents, and none of us want to impose a policy that could alienate any of the people who generate our revenue. NAR is forced an all or nothing choice on us, but this all for nothing approach isn't of Redfin's choosing. NAR rules require us to leave local and state associations even when our only beef is with the National Association. The rules require that for a broker to be a member, she must pay dues for each of the agents under her supervision or his, regardless of whether an agent wants to be a member. The rules further say that if a broker isn't a member, no agent under her supervision can be a member. So I have some experience with this as a real estate broker. Okay, I'm a member of the National Association of Realtors, the State Association of Realtors, and then any number of local boards that I want to be a part of. I'm a part of 3 local boards because I do business in most of those 3 places, and I think that it's important to have board membership. So I don't think anything of it. I just don't think anything of it. So we chose nothing. This is like eating in a restaurant that requires you to buy food for your entire family when you come in alone. It also says that no family member can dine there if you ever stop dining there too. The painful choice is to stop patronizing that restaurant altogether. I don't think that that's even close to what the situation is. But again, this is on Redfin's site. It's Redfin saying what they believe. And so we just have to take that with a grain of salt, right? We have to accept that Redfin's going to advocate for their position. I mean, they're trying to take over market share from other real estate brokerages. So they're going to do whatever they can to try and win. If that's influence the National Association, that's what they'll do. Do you think for a moment if National Association came out and said, okay, you know what, Redfin will do everything you want, do you think that Redfin isn't going to come right back? You think they're going to stay away? You know, this is ridiculous. But let's continue. In many markets, we can't even do that. But often we don't even have that choice. In about half the U.S., including things like Charlotte, Dallas, Houston, Las Vegas, Long Island, Minneapolis, Nashville, Phoenix, and Salt Lake City, we can't quit NAR individually or en masse because NAR membership is required for agents to access listing databases, lockboxes, and industry standard contracts. It's impossible to be an agent if you can't see which homes are for sale or unlock the door to those homes or even write an offer. You're part of the association, so you get benefits. Many of those benefits include industry standard contracts and the listing database because you're a member of the association. It's not that hard to figure out. We want NAR to decouple MLS access from NAR support. We're asking NAR. Now all of a sudden we're asking things when we're already leaving. It's like we're going to go. We're leaving. We're leaving. But these are the things you can do. It's like, no, you're already leaving, right? We're asking NAR to decouple access to these tools, including the listing databases known as the multiple listing services from support for the National Lobbying Organization. And I don't have a problem with that concept of we're going to decouple this from the National Association of Realtors, but every single individual board throughout the United States will still have control over their own listings because, quite frankly, I get a listing, I get all the information, and I put it on a website, and then they're allowed to use my information, which is crazy, right? But it fosters the ability for all of us to cooperate. It says, agents shouldn't have to underwrite policies and legal efforts that hurt consumers when most of us got into real estate to help consumers. Redfin's mission, after all, is to redefine real estate in consumers' favor. In their opinion, they believe they know what's right for the consumer, and 150 years of real estate practice doesn't. When in fact, they're a real estate disruptor. They've always been that. They don't give a damn about the consumer. They care about themselves. They are a public company that typically loses money. So the idea that they care about consumers is bunk. They care about taking market share from other brokerages, which is fine. It's right. It's a competitive. Any number of the other national chains can go ahead and play these same games. There's nothing stopping them. It says, we're committed to our industry's future. NAR isn't the future. Our disagreement is with NAR, not with our industry. Well, they are defining their own industry, which is problematic. Brokerages can compete on price and still cooperate to show all the homes for sale. Redfin will continue our full support of the MLSs that brokers use to share listing data and will remain friends with the many fine people working at NAR and its local affiliates on economics, diversity, and pro-housing policies. We love our industry. We've tried to love NAR, but enough is enough. So they made this huge announcement. Oh my God, we're leaving NAR. Everybody leave NAR. Okay. Oh, and by the way, there's sexual harassment, so we got to leave there. Disingenuous in my opinion. But let's look at some other articles because some other people have opinions about this. It's not just me. Here's one: Redfin's evil genius, the real reason behind their breakup with NAR. Now, I've never heard of this publication, The Real Daily, the Pulse of Realtors, but I'll tell you, it's a very fascinating read. Now, I've put the links to everything I show you in the description so that you have them. I'm not going to read the whole article or anything like that, but let's just look at this. It says, in an open letter penned by Redfin CEO Glenn Kelman and his leadership team, wherein tidy phrases were tossed around like a room filled with clever PR graduate students looking for extra credit. We've tried to love NAR, but enough is enough, Kelman concludes, as if holding back almost believable tears. And that's really how you should look at this. It's an executive doing everything by the book to try and gain his position or gain an advantage over other brokerages. It says, what caught our attention was the fact that the letter casually slides in the real reason Redfin is leaving NAR. Did you notice it? The primary reason for this public relations move was almost missed by many, since the salaciousness of sexual harassment overshadowed the other reason they cited. They claim that NAR has a policy that agents must pay a fee for representing buyers in every listing transaction. That claim is bunk, as all commissions are negotiable. Kelman also notes that Redfin agents have collectively paid millions in annual membership dues over the years. That's the red herring. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. And then it says, who is the real winner here? In 2007, Kelman was an evil genius who ended up practicing real estate just like everyone else in the industry. There was this whole big thing on 60 Minutes, how he was going to do real estate differently. He's a disruptor and everything. Turns out he does the exact same thing everybody else has done for the last 150 years. He's always been a brilliant public relations manipulator, and I say that with all due respect, seriously. Today, nothing is different, and Kelman knows that. He is great, okay? Redfin data, okay? They're the only group that publishes data, I swear, like every other day, where it somehow gets in the news and then they're able to carry it. I look at Redfin data when it comes across my desk because it's always a talking point. It's always something interesting that I can bring to you. So I don't fault Redfin for what they're doing. Just recognize what they're doing, okay? And it says, so who is the real winner here? Consumers, the slick Kelman would likely say, but both you and I know better. It's Kelman. Consumers don't care and won't care since the issue is so extremely nuanced, and Kelman knows that. Even a huge number of practitioners don't or won't care either, sadly for the same reason. Kelman knows that. Look, like I said, I put this out on Twitter and nobody said a word. I didn't even get one response. I got one response from somebody, and they're like, I was shocked that nobody said a word about this either. It says, but I think, to be fair, there's also fear. When Zillow went about being a brokerage, when they lied and they said they were never going to be a brokerage, and then they became a brokerage to do iBuying, in a terrible fiasco that just stopped brokerage from being interested in Zillow at all. I mean, they completely lied. They said that. How do I get it? How do I put it in words? When Zillow said they weren't being brokers, and then they became brokers, it was just a complete betrayal. Okay, and that's the same thing. Companies will do whatever they don't care what they say. Okay, they just do what they need to do to get ahead. And when Zillow lost its ass on its estimates trying to do iBuying, they got out. So did Redfin. These companies don't do things, because they care about the consumers. They care about profit. Okay. And don't be swayed don't be dissuaded by anything else. That's all they're interested in. It says, but they'll remember the headline Redfin leaves NAR and how radical that sounds. And while Redfin's still just a brokerage and always will be, Kelman gets to play disruptive punk yet again, and ultimately very little will change, and Kelman knows that. And that's a very, very astute take. And so then we look here, it says, why Redfin is actually leaving. This is from PropMoto. And it comes in, let's just go to the bottom part. It says, but what I have an issue with is how they seem to be using the sexual harassment change as the main reason for their decision. Sure, these are very serious charges, but to NAR's credit, they have appointed a new president who has been very forthright with her actions to address these incidents. In the end, Blaming the misconduct of some of the people in charge of NAR comes off as a bit disingenuous. If you want to change the way that NAR operates, then just say that. Many in the industry will support it. Every broker I know has an opinion about the organization. But don't use the hurt that the sexual misconduct inflicted on a few unfortunate people advance your own agenda. They have their fight and you have yours. Good luck. And that's really another great way to look at this. This was Redfin coming out and doing something. They was bored. It was like, I think this was on a Monday, and they're like, you know what? Let's shake some things up. Let's go ahead and publish this, with a big open letter, and we'll get Redfin's name in the news. And it worked. You're going to get Redfin's name in the news. But I wanted to pay attention. One of the things that Glenn Kelman has said is that real estate agents get paid too much, okay, and that they shouldn't get paid that much, and he should determine who should get paid and how much, which has always struck me as a little bit off, okay? Just to be honest with you, as a real estate broker, I know what I make, I know what I don't make, and I know how hard it is sometimes to make anything. So I just wanted to point out Redfin will implement internal fair housing monitoring system and $4 million legal settlement. Well, what's this about? I mean, I thought that Redfin's always about the consumer, didn't you? The settlement filed April 29th in U.S. District Court in Seattle resolves a suit filed in 2020 by the National Fair Housing Alliance and other organizations. The suit focused on Redfin's practice of setting a minimum home price in each market to determine whether it will offer its services for specific properties. Under the settlement, Redfin will stop using home price thresholds when referring business to partners. So, you go to your website, right, and they're like, I want to sell, some person says, I want to sell my house. And they're like, great, how much is it worth? Oh, it's worth about $80,000. Well, Redfin would just say, you know what, we don't work with you. We don't work with you, right? Because again, real estate agents get paid too much. Okay. And so if we were to offer our services to you, we couldn't make a profit, even though we struggle to make a profit as it is, because, realtors get paid too much, but somehow we never make a profit. Anyway, it says, then Glenn put out a statement that says, throughout our history, we've made progress in broadening the price range of properties we could profitably sell. So even he acknowledges that he cannot be profitable, okay, on every property and price level. And this is what bites me, because there's so many agents that do deals where the price is not that much. I mean, I had a deal this year where it was $400, okay, and I spent a month on it. $400 for a month, okay? You do the hourly math, not great. It says, expanding from Seattle and San Francisco to cities across North America, Kelman wrote at the time, we've built a network of over 5,000 partners in an effort to serve customers for every home on our site, but our own agents still can't make a decent living selling the lowest priced homes. And that's always been the problem in real estate, okay? There are plenty of agents that can sell $1 million homes, but good luck selling a $100,000 home and making a profit. And finally, here's from The Real Deal. Let me got a little cough there, sorry. Redfin posted a $90.2 million in losses for the quarter, more than the $78 million it lost for the quarter before, as rising mortgage rates continued to hammer the housing market. Kelman predicted that Redfin would be profitable by the end of 2024 and quashed the idea of the firm becoming an online referral business instead of employing salaried real estate agents. Kelman and Nielsen predicted that Redfin will lose between $118 million and $134 million next quarter, compared to a net loss of $27 million in the fourth quarter of last year, with total revenue between $430 million and $459 million. That would represent a year-over-year decline of $29 and $33 million. Look, I don't have a problem with Redfin. I don't care what they do. I'm a small fish in a huge pond, okay? I just think it's very disingenuous when they put out garbage like that. They act like, oh, we're always helping the consumer and we only care about the consumer. Well, you don't take care of people that can't sell their properties for a low price at all. But you want to lecture me on how to do it. Say I make too much money. So anyway, Redfin's leaving NAR, known since June. They put out the announcement in October. You decide for yourselves if you think that is totally above board. With that, I'm going to head out. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'll catch you on the next one.